Hello there, my name is Emmy Peterson and I am a career and transition coach. And one thing that I see a lot in the job market at the moment, both here in Australia where I live, but also in other parts of the world, is that people are getting really fed up with their jobs. And rather than getting clear on what specifically isn't good with the job, they just kind of dismiss the job altogether and start looking for another one. And there is nothing wrong with leaving a job that's not right for you and going for something that you really want instead. But the thing to remember is that if you are just jumping over to another job without reflection as to why you need to leave, you will likely experience the same type of challenges in the new job, because the common denominator in every job that you've ever had is you. And I'm not saying this to pile any guilt on top of anyone who's struggling at work, but I wanted to give you a really simple 3-step process that you can do really quickly. Just pause this video or watch this video and then sit down with a coffee and do it quickly thereafter. So what you need to get clear on if you don't like your job right now is to get clear on, firstly, how you feel about the company and the organization as a whole. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how aligned are you with what your company or your organization does? And you can go into more detail here. So you could look at, for example, company values. Is that, are the values of the company, and not just the pretty ones on the website, but the ones day to day. Are those values something that you share? How aligned do you feel on a broader scale to what you do for work? So that's the organization. The next thing to look at, which is point number 2, is leadership. So how do you feel? What kind of relationship do you have with your current manager and leadership team? So if you had to rate right now on a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is great and 1 is miserable, how aligned or how happy are you with the leaders that you have in the organization? This is a little bit different from the previous point, because that one is about the company itself. This is about the leadership that you deal with on a daily or weekly basis. So quickly rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 on how you feel about your current leadership team or manager. And the very final point is to think about your role. So obviously we change and grow, it goes without saying. And quite often as a career coach, I work with people who really just want to expand and go do something else, or expand their skill set, or apply their strengths in a different way in a different industry. But what I want you to do under the third point is to look at your role and, hand on heart, on a scale from 1 to 10, ask yourself, how happy are you with your role? Are the tasks that you're responsible for something that aligns with you? Is your job description clear? Has your role started changing and there hasn't been a discussion about what you're now responsible for, or you might be doing extra work and not getting paid for it? So those 3 super simple points: alignment with the company or the organization, your leadership and how you feel about your manager, and how do you feel about your role and your tasks. Those 3 things can help you pinpoint pretty quickly what specifically isn't working for you. And before you go and try to find another job, make sure that you get really clear on how you are going to address this in another place. Or, for example, if your manager is the main problem for you, get really clear on the type of manager you'd like to have instead. And make sure in your next job interview that you really discuss with your direct leader in the role you're interviewing for how that's going to work in that company. I trust that this has been useful, and if you want to chat about this at all, please book in for a free chat with me. I'd love to hear how you're going and how I can support you smash your career goals.